creating a text area in your content area in the web content management system. First, find an empty component. To create a new component, either click on the gear icon here and the plus icon, or the add new icon in the top right of your content area. To delete a component in your content area, select the same gear icon in the component you want to delete and then the minus. You can also select the gear icon in a component and move it either up or down in the organization within your content. Once you have an empty component, select the Create button in the bottom right corner. Give it a name. This will allow you to determine what content is what if you need to go and edit your content at a future date. And then at the Select Type drop-down, you'd select KU Text Area and Create. Now you will have a text area. You will notice it should look pretty familiar and Word oriented. You have your options here for formats, your different types of formats that you have within the text itself, your bullets, your number lists, your indents, your bold, all of the things that you should be pretty familiar with from Word. To create text, you can either type right here, or if you have it in a Word document or somewhere else, you can open that document, copy your content, come back and paste it into your text area. And then just like you would within Word, you can come in to your content and edit as you require, including bullet lists, indents, anything of that nature. The other thing you can do within a text area is create a link. To create a link within your text area, highlight the text that you would want to link, and then click this icon that looks like two links of a chain. Once you click that, you will notice we have a few options for your link: internal, external, asset, anchor, and email. Internal is to link to anything within the content management system. External, link to external websites. Asset is a document. Anchor, disregard this. This was older technology. We now have accordions for something that we would use an anchor for. And then email. We'll start with internal. Internal pages within this first box, you can start typing a keyword. This will bring back anything with, for example, I typed WEB, and it brings back anything, any file within the content management system that has WEB in it. You can either select your page from this dropdown. You can also determine your page within the content management system. I cancel out of this link and I go over to my site tree in the left pane. I can navigate to any page within the KU website. If I just hover over the page that I want to link to, you'll be able to see a black box does appear And then in there, it has the first line, an ID. It always begins with an X. This is what we refer to as an X ID of a page. You can note that ID, come back to your link, and then in your internal link on that first content area, type that X and 12 for the ID. And then it will link to that page. Title. This is the title of the link that is read back if users are using assistive technology. So this title, I would say admissions homepage, because that is indeed what I am linking to. Target, this determines if it opens in the same tab or a new tab within your browser. General rule of thumb within tabs, if it uses our navigation, same tab. If it does not, new tab. This does use our navigation, so I'm going to leave it in that same tab. And then class, you would define as an internal link. The next option would be an external link. This would be anything outside the content management system, including some KU websites. Things like dining services, the library website, athletics website would still be considered an external link, even though they are internal websites. You can either type or copy and paste. The title now I would put as Google search engine. I'm going to make sure that this opens into a new tab since it is going to take the user away from our website. I want them to be able to go out to the Google search engine, make their search, simply close that tab, and be right back where they were on our Kutztown website. And then class I will define as external. Now if we go to an asset option, you'll notice that now, if I clear that out, I have a folder icon in this far right of that asset. If I click on that, this will take us to our assets within the content management system. Click the arrow next to assets, arrow next to departments and offices, find your individual department or office within the alphabetical folders. You could also link to anyone's documents. You would just only be able to manage the documents in your area. So if I did want to link to an ADA map within the Dean of Students, I would just confirm this. I would make sure that in my title, I am indicating it is a PDF. This will just be, and if you indicate it as the first in your title, it will alert the user using assistive technology that additional software will be opening. And then we're going to make sure that that is indeed going into a new frame or a new window or tab within your browser, since it will be opening something outside of our navigation. And then here for assets class, this is important. So here we would say our options are either a Word document, PowerPoint, Excel, PDF, zip. Now, even though we are allowing you to link to a Word, PowerPoint, Excel, or zip, we are not able to control that any one of those Word, PowerPoint, Excel, or zip files linked from a web browser will present a security error. It will say something like, are you sure you want to open this file? It could be a virus. So we are always going to suggest a PDF link. Also, Word, PowerPoint, Excel, and zip will be easily able to be manipulated, where a PDF is a little bit harder for users on the other end to manipulate that content. So again, we will always suggest a PDF link for a document. Email. Here you would just type your email. Your title for an email should be contact Kelly Smith, email Kelly Smith, anything but ksmith@kutztown.edu, which you would have in your email field right here is the full email address of ksmith@kutztown.edu. You would make sure that that is loading into a new tab, and then your class would be an email link. I will leave it on an asset because I do want to show you what that does when you define that class. Now, if I click Insert and I save by clicking the Save button in the icon row underneath your tabs, and then in that same icon row, your preview. This will now show you what your text area looks like, including that link, and how defining the class also puts an icon right next to the link. So especially on mobile users can see exactly what type of link. So they can see right now this is a PDF. So they can choose if they want to wait till they are back on a desktop to download that, or if they do choose to download that on their mobile device, or if it's an email, it would have an email icon right there as well. And that is text area within the content management system.